Hey guys, Dave here. So today we're working on the motorcycle. The issue that we're working on is I have a left blinker, but my right blinker stopped working once I hit the dirt and shook the motorcycle quite a bit. So what we need to do is we need to take off this cover and figure out what's wrong. So we're gonna break these loose. There's 4 bolts, 2 on either side. And once you get all 4 bolts off, it should just slip off pretty easily. I'll put these over here. And this section just comes right off. Isn't that easy? All right, we've got a cover, it looks like. Take that off. Got a little dirt and grime in there. I did get into this before, and I'm kind of interested to see where the issue is stemming from. So we just need to troubleshoot this and figure out what in the world is happening or why it stopped working. Try not to cut any wires while we're cutting these zip ties. Okay, so this is the wire we're looking at. Oh, look at that. That's the issue right there. Immediately, we know exactly what the issue is. I thought those connections looked fairly solid, but they, look at that. Okay, so now that we've gotten it apart, we can obviously see what the issue is. The wire just fell off. So our soldering iron is heating up. We got our heat gun and we got some shrink wrap as well so we can connect up to it. And I think what we're going to do is we're just going to cut these completely off. So I'm going to put some shrink wrap on it immediately so I don't forget. This is a lot of shrink wrap, but I do want this connection to be waterproof. So we're just going to be overkill and it should be great. Not sure how well the GoPro is going to capture it with this light, but we're just going to guess. Oh, that was a good one. What gauge is that? 18 gauge? Something like that. Oops. That didn't work. Okay. So we've got those connections stripped. We just stripped them with some wire strippers. Now we're going to grab the soldering iron. That's probably hot already. Oh, we need solder. Duh. Okay, we have our solder. We have our soldering iron. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just twist these so the strands are together. And then flux makes everything easier. 100% recommend it. There's a flux core in the solder, but it works so much better. So I'm just going to dip this in flux, both ends, before I even start working on it. It just makes everything so much easier. So it's been dipped in flux. We're going to grab the soldering iron. Just going to tap the end of it. It's hot. And we're just going to tin the wires. Oh, you know what I should have done? You know, that was kind of silly of me. Probably shouldn't have tinned them just yet. Probably should have wrapped them first. Whoops. Oh well. Now it's going to be super hard. That's hilarious. This is one of those do what I say, not what I do moments. So you should probably wrap the wire first, then put all your solder stuff on it. So we're just gonna cover this and just gonna make that connection. Okay, we made the connection. And now, make sure it's cooled down a little bit. And we're just going to slip this over the top. And that's it. That's what the connection is going to look like. So this monstrosity is not going to be here anymore, and we're just going to put it back together that way. And then I did the same thing over here. I actually soldered, then I shrink wrapped, then I wrapped this in tape. I just really wanted it waterproof. I think this is such a long piece. It's going to be plenty waterproof back here. It's not going to be an issue. So let's make sure that worked. Left, still works. Right, works great. Look at that. Perfect. Well, that is fixed, but we're going to go one step further and make sure that the other side is good. So we're going to do the exact same thing to the other side. We're just going to clip this, and look at that, it just fell right off. That wasn't even connected either. Such a trashy connection. So when I bought this motorcycle, I didn't realize it, but there was so many connections that were messed up. I had to fix all 4 connections here. I need that to be a little bit bigger. I had to fix all 4 connections to be to make this like rideable. It's kind of ridiculous. And the guy I bought it from, he told me, he's like, yeah, it all works, everything works great. And it's been my experience with every single motorcycle that I've ever purchased. I'm not very good at determining on the spot what is good, what's bad. I just get really excited and I like the motorcycle, and this one, I wasn't even that excited. I saw it was super dirty. I was like, I don't love it. And then we took it on a test ride and it felt really good. I was like, okay, I like it a lot more. And that's when I got a little Twitter-pated with the whole thing. So here's what I'm going to do. Round 2, let's do this better this time. What should I do? Let's actually wrap it first. So we're going to wrap these first, these connections. And some of these wires are just flying around. I'm sure it's impossible to see that. But I've wrapped the connections together. And then I'm going to use, this just to dump a little flux on it. In the wise words of Louis Rossmann, a computer guy who does electronics repair, he said you can never use too much flux. And we're going to stick to that here. Flux just makes everything flow so well. So if you've never used flux and you're soldering, definitely do, because it's great. We're going to heat it up, put it on here. That's a good connection. I don't really need more solder, but I'm going to put on a little bit more. I think we're good. Let's unplug that. Don't need it heating up anymore. And we're going to test that connection one more time. Just make sure I didn't break anything. Nope. Looks good. It's better than before. There was no hesitation this time. Okay, it's cool. We're going to slip this over the top. So that's my my 2 shrink wrapped pieces. So now let me just grab my heat gun. Now, this stuff doesn't have to be expensive either. I got this heat gun for $18 off the internet. It's a Genesis heat gun. Works great. Perfect. Okay, that looks good. So now we know everything works. Everything's back together. All we're going to do is we're just going to put this back together with a couple of zip ties. Easy peasy. Hardest part is figuring out how to route this in kind of tight quarters. Okay, we've got everything tied down. Zip ties look good. One more check before we put everything back on, just to make sure everything works. Left, right, back. Everything works. Great. Perfect. Everything's back together. We can wrap this up. So that was a relatively simple fix. And generally for electronics, if it's not a fuse somewhere, it's going to be a connection kind of like that. Just going to be, something's going to be broken and you just need to fix it. So that was awesome. And I really do like this motorcycle. It's pretty amazing. I love how simple everything is with it. It's just so easy to work on. It's got these little nubs that it kind of goes in. Just holds it like that. And we're just going to put this section back on. And not only are we going to put the section back on, we are going to get some blue Loctite. I don't expect to be getting back here very much. So we're just going to throw some Loctite on those and put them back. So just have my 243 Loctite that I purchased online. I got some bigger Loctite than I had than what I could buy in town. Not going to cinch that down because I need to connect this back piece. So all I'm doing is putting these 4 screws back in. And just throwing a little Loctite on them. Should be pretty simple. Okay, everything's back together. And that is how we fixed the electrical issue on the 2007 KLX250s. Appreciate you watching. Let's do one more check just to make sure everything's working just fine. Yep, both signals are working good. So appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.